Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
In judicial ethics, the mere appearance of potential fraud is disqualifying. Same goes here. Whether or not there is widespread fraud occurring, there certainly could be, and it doesn't matter how many times you scream, there's no widespread fraud. A lot of people believe there is, and there's no way to actually validate it. This isn't just about whether or not fraud is swinging the election. The appearance of fraud already is swinging the election. People rightly have zero faith in this janky, inefficient system. They feel like their vote isn't being counted. They feel like illegal ballots are being cast, and they're not wrong to worry about it. There's literally no safeguards in place to prevent that from happening, and way too many openings for it to occur on a massive scale. You all saw how it was neck and neck with Karen Basura on election night, nearly double digits ahead of Nithya, just as the polling predicted.
Rahman fighting tears on election night, trailing Spencer Pratt by roughly 40,000 votes and about 10 percentage points.
I dominated the in-person vote. I smashed Nithya on the mail-in ballots too. She was crying on election night. It was over. Then a few days later, suddenly Nithya started overperforming as they continued to accept ballots 7 days after the election.
But days of counting mail-in ballots have changed the map.
I'm so grateful.
Rahman has now erased a 40,000 vote deficit and moved ahead of Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes.
43,000 votes, which just happens to be the exact number of homeless people on the streets in LA. They assured everyone that this is normal because for some reason that they can't explain, Democrats overwhelmingly vote by mail.
There's a historical phenomenon in national voting called the Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
What we were calling a Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
Red Mirage. Yeah. This term was coined because about some swing states count votes, usually favoring Republicans early. Then it becomes an advantage for Democrats later in the evening and then into the next morning.
You expect to see the Republican with a lead, but it's not really a lead.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by a mail-in ballot. Historically, Democrats vote in higher numbers by mail-in ballots.
But not all Democrats, just the ones who are voting for the third place candidate, the one candidate who really needed the votes. Don't forget, there were 2 Democrats in the race, but for some reason, only the third place Democrat who needed the votes saw a disproportionate spike in votes several days after the election. Plus, multiple studies have shown that mail voting doesn't provide an advantage to either party. It's a myth. The media will say that claims of fraud here are without evidence. Keep in mind, an anomalous statistical spike like this is evidence of fraud. Ask any forensic accountant. It may not be necessarily proof of fraud, but it is certainly evidence of fraud. But forget the late ballots. Just because the vote swing coincidentally matched the specific Lhasa count of homeless people on the streets, just because NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots, just because hundreds of thousands of dead people and ex-residents who've left California were still on the voter rolls, doesn't mean anyone is taking those loose ballots and filling them out. First off, it's against the law. And we all know if it's against the law, it doesn't happen.
The elections are fraudulent. All of the elections are fraudulent. They're fraudulent. We have this conversation. By the way, I am headed to Liberty Fest. We will have an hour show. We're going to have Jake Lang on. Before I said I was going to bring Jake Lang on, I got a phone call and it said, do not put Jake Lang on. And I go, what are we, the left? I can't believe you would put him on. He's provocative. Well, Jake and I are going to talk about provocative today. But you don't do these tactics. You have to have a conversation about things. You don't get to pick what's right or what's wrong or what can be heard or what can't be heard. And you don't get to let the mainstream media decide that part of the time that they're going to tell the truth and part of the time they're not, and dictate who we can and cannot talk to and control not just the narrative of the left, but the narrative that we have, the conversations that we have. Before I go any further about this, because we have Jake that's waiting to come on right now, we're going to take a look at a video. And that video, by the way, just happens. We're going to let Jake describe it for us. We're going to put ourselves side by side with it and watch this video. He is currently in LA right now. And this is one of the few times that I don't think he was being all that provocative. He was just talking about deporting someone that should not be the mayor of, and you just heard it from Spencer Pratt. Just because you don't have proof does not mean you don't have evidence. And evidence is widespread. Math is really something special. You should be able to use math to dictate things. But before I talk about that, I'll say this. If I see you at DCF Guns and you run up to me, there are people that are there that are going to stop you from talking to me. Just be patient with them because, people have stated that they would do harm. So there will be there. I will be there. I'll be hanging out with you guys for the next 3 days. I look forward to seeing you at DCF, East today, Castle Rock tomorrow, and West on Sunday. I look forward to seeing you. Got all sorts of crazy stuff. I'll be giving stuff away. I personally will be doing some giveaways. I'd love to meet you, but do me a favor. Just please don't run up on me. So having to wear this thing because of the constant death threats is not something that I look forward to. Okay, so we're going on video, but bring me in Jake Lang. Jake, welcome to the show. Now,
Joe, my brother, I just had to unmute. If you guys can see behind me here, here's this provocative First Amendment sign that I was just lynched for. 50 Antifa members just gang beat me and about 10 Republicans that were with me. They're crusaders, Christian men that come with me to my different events. We held a sign saying, Spencer Pratt can save LA from the communists. On the other side of the sign, it says, deport Nithya Raman back to India. For exercising my First Amendment on the streets of Los Angeles, I was just brutally assaulted a dozen times. Roll the clip. No one in the world has seen this yet. This is brand new. It's going to be the entire news cycle for the next 2 days on X and Instagram. I gave Joe this exclusive. This happened less than 30 minutes ago, Joe.
All right,
I escaped with my life.
He's getting the video done right now. We'll do that. But I want to ask you, you just came back. You were just actually also in an interview, doing an interview to have a conversation with someone, left versus right. It was a gentleman that you had in the studio, kicked over a chair, threw a water bottle, seemed a little bit upset.
He said he was going to slap me. You know what I mean? I'm a bitch slappy, he said.
Well,
in his Reverend Al Sharpton voice.
But I mean, in fairness, he was electrically charged towards things that, had you sat down and talked about, you probably would have gotten to the very end, because he made some more rhetorical statements that were just not true, fundamentally, about what white people do to black people. And you brought up that the fact that they're more likely to have black on black crime than you are white on black crime, and
you're right. You're 41 times more likely as a white person to be assaulted by a black person than for a white person to assault a black person. So when you have interracial violence, black people assaulting white people happens 41 times more likely than white people assaulting black people. And you can't have a civilized society, Joe, where you have discrepancies like that. And it's also for, not just to hate on black people, but Spanish people. 20 times more likely for a Spanish person to assault a white person than for a white person to assault a Spanish person. What's happening in our minority communities? What kind of stuff are they being pumped with from the BET awards, from the hip hop culture, from the gang culture, from all of these disgusting, they've been broken down outside. It's coming from outside their communities, and it's influencing their communities and turning these people violent and hate-filled against white people. Irina Zarewski, Austin Metcalf. How many more white people need to be murdered at the hands of blacks and of illegal immigrants?
So let's get to this statistic. Let's get time out. Let's get to this statistic. Just so you know, 98% of the people that have been deported since President Trump took office came from 37 countries. Of those countries, the top countries are Guatemala, Venezuela, Somalia.
They're here to steal our heritage. They're here to steal our wealth. They're not here to assimilate.
Hold on, time out, because I really want to make this statistically. I want to talk about statistics of crimes that are committed. The crime rate in NFL cities currently is down 54.4%. So NFL cities are just a way that you can actually look at the bigger cities around the country, and it's down 54. Violent crimes down 50.
I have a really racist joke to make with the NFL.
You're not going to make you're not going to make an NFL any racist joke here. But let me just give you this.
Come on, what are you, a leftist?
No, I'm not
sensibilities?
a leftist.
Am I offending Joe Oltmann's fine sensibilities?
No, hold on a second. I want to point this out because it's really important. It's not just white people that are Americans that are being demonized. Black Americans in this country, there's a replacement theology that's happening in this country. The Black Americans, you have Somalis and you have all of even the person that stabbed the young lady on the train, right, was a foreign-born black man. Okay? These are foreigners. These are foreigners that came to the country that are doing harm. Same thing that's happening in the UK, in Spain, and in different countries around Europe. I don't know if
DeCarlos Brown was foreign-born. I actually never heard that before, ever. And by his name, I would not say that he was foreign-born. His name is DeCarlos Brown. Brown is a typical African-American last name, and he looked like a normal African-American. But I may be proven wrong on that.
I will prove you wrong on that.
I'm not splitting hairs on that.
So
I'm not going to split hairs on that. Black people are violent. Black people have low impulse control. Black people are not assimilating into American culture, whether they're from Africa, sub-Saharan frickin' Somalia, or if they're from Chicago. They're out in droves murdering white people. They're lapping up the prostitution culture from Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. They're lapping up this rapper culture, fast money, just rob people, carjack people, hurt people. They're all lapping it up because they're all influenced by hip-hop hypnosis because they have bad parents. The black parents don't give a shit about their children. They see them as another stipend to collect money from our government. They're having welfare babies.
Jake,
first of all, you can say I'm offensive, but you can't tell me I'm wrong.
Well, my family, the black part of my family is not violent. The black part of my family. So you can't say that all black people.
I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about statistically.
Statistically,
Joe.
Okay, but statistically, it's fine.
You have 3% of the population is black men aged 18 to 40 years old. They're doing 42% of the murders. They're overrepresented by 12 times. 50% of the murders happen from black people. But if you can, and then they're 13% of the population, but you can further narrow that down to even more of an egregious and disgusting statistic. 3%, age 18 to 40 years old, are doing 42% of the murders. There is something very drastically wrong. So you're telling me if we could just imprison 3% of the American population, murders would drop by 42%. I'm all for it. I think that black men age 18 to 40 should be locked up in prison, and we will save 42% of innocent people being murdered in America every year. So I think it's a good. I think it's a good trade-off.
What about the other 58%, Jake?
The other 58%. I mean, I'm not here to argue that. I'm here to talk about a discrepancy of about 12 times the average rate. A black male age 18 to 40 years old is 12 times more likely to commit murder than anyone else in America. That's repugnant. You can't live next to somebody knowing that. I'm not going to send my daughter onto a school. If I tell my daughter, if you're going on public transportation, do not sit next to any black people because you're 12 times more likely to be murdered by them. Why would you put yourself in that level of danger? Do we not have any type of self-preservation left in America? And if Irina Zarewski's father was a little more racist, like Jake Lang is, Irina Zarewski would still be alive because she had Black Lives Matter posters hung up in her freaking bedroom, and then a black guy kills her. There's no amount of social virtue signaling you can do. There's no amount of appealing to these people you can do. They will murder you, and they will kill you and your family, and they will rob, they will terrorize your streets with teen takeovers. They will smash and grab Apple stores. They will run inside Lululemons, terrorize nice white neighborhoods, and we will be replaced by 80 IQ violent mongrels. That's what's happening, Joe. No joke about it. These people have lost all of the Christianity that the black community was once, I mean, it was prevalent, right? They used to dress up in suits. They used to have some type of stature, some type of dignity. It's all fucking gone. All of the boomer black people are dying, and we are being, the new generation of black people is by and large, I would say 80 to 90% completely brainwashed ghetto filth. And they're not Americans.
All right. So I want to point something out, but I'll wait to show you on the video that what I'm pointing out. Go ahead and let's play this video, and you can just kind of give us put us on the side of it, please. Play this.
And I don't want them to be. I want them to be assimilated.
Already assaulted. Come on. Why are you so sensitive? Grab it! Grab it! Fucking animal. Come on. Behave yourself. Back. Go. Back! Get the fuck back now! Get the fuck back now! Back! Get the fuck back! Don't assault nobody! Don't fucking touch nobody! Don't touch
Y'all, this dude.
That was within 30 seconds of me pulling up, Joe. Literally. I didn't even get to say a sentence of my political rhetoric, which was, hey, by the way, some Marxist born in India, a woman, should not be the next mayor of LA. Could call me a radical for saying some radical liberal socialist born in India named Nithya Raman should not be the next mayor of LA. And
well,
I got lynched for that by Antifa.
Yeah. So I wanted to get to a statistical deal because I like to be academic about things. Frankly, I think if we're more academic about it, and by the way, I'm all about the fight. I don't actually care if you're purple with webbed feet, though, right? If you're a communist that's in this country that's trying to take from us what's not yours, I believe that you need to be run out. Frankly, that's what I believe. The statistic that I wanted to bring up was that 54% of violent crimes is down. And if you line that up with when President Trump took office in January of 2025 and the number of people that were deported by the Border Patrol and by ICE, it lines up perfectly to the millions of people that have been thrown out of the country who they said were violent criminals. And that's where you see the major change over the last 2 years. Now, I'm trying to work the problem with you.
That's a beautiful thing. And I want to celebrate President Trump's wins. President Trump saved my life. He saved us from careening off a cliff into demographic replacement. I mean, we couldn't survive another 4 years of 20 million mongrels flooding our borders. We couldn't do it. They would overrun us, and they almost did overrun us. But Joe, there's two things the average American cares about. Literally, this is the only things. And whatever politician rises to this occasion will win the hearts and minds of all the Americans. 100 million deportations and public executions for the traitors. That's it. That's all that we care about. There's been zero accountability over the COVID scam, over the January 6th scam, over the Russiagate scam, over the stolen 2020 election. Zero accountability for these traitors. And you have that's obviously one of the points. And now we have a complete demographic replacement of white people in our own homeland. Whoever can rise to the occasion and actually deliver on those two things will be the savior of our people. President Trump has painted a golden yellow brick road for this strongman leader to arise. I'm not able to run for president because I'm not old enough yet. I'll only be 33 years old come November of 2028. I'm not constitutionally, but a strong man must arise out of our people and deliver these two things. We don't give a shit about the public roads and bridges and healthcare and stuff like that. All that falls so pale in comparison to the demographic replacement in Europe that's happening and in America of our people. the posterity that the founding fathers secured these rights for. It said, for our posterity, for our bloodline, for our heritage, for white Christians from Europe. That is who they secured this land for. And we are being overrun by everybody else. And guess what? And this is so easy to do on AI. Anybody can ask AI right now, if only Jews voted in 2020, what would the Electoral College be? If only blacks voted, if only Spanish voted, if only Indians voted, and every single demographic, except for white, we would have had a literal 50-state sweep of the Electoral College. That's how different the voting patterns are, the principles are between white and black, between white and Asian.
Listen to me.
Anyone, Asian, every other race votes Democrat.
Jake, hold on a second.
That's why they gotta go.
We have fraudulent elections across the entire country in all 50 states. There's not an election that we've had. You saw the one with Spencer Pratt. That is an indicator of all the other elections that were stolen. The Spamberger in Virginia, that was another election. You saw the what are they called? The primaries in Colorado. Victor Marx won on the Republican side on a 50-50-20 split that anybody in their right mind would know you're not going to get 90% of the ballots come in for one person. Rule of large numbers. They did the same thing in Colorado in the primary that they did at Spencer Pratt that they've done to other races. They're all fixed, Jake. They're all fixed.
I agree with that. That's why I'm out here literally contesting an election.
But let's talk about the reality of black versus white. Black people, in large part,
they don't vote the same. They don't have the same standards as us.
Except for 29%. Except for 20. It's actually black women that don't vote the same way. Black men historically vote the same way, and a large majority of black men voted for President Trump.
60% Democrat as compared to 80% black women. So we're still at a net loss. Between blacks, they vote like 70% Democrat, 80% on women, 60% on men. So you can ask Grok right now.
So hold on a second, Jake. How do we get?
If only black men voted in 2020, who would be president? If only black men voted in 2024, Kamala Harris would be president. That's why I don't want the demographic replacement of white people. Honestly, I don't care about the color of people's skin. It's the policy that comes with the skin color. When black people only vote, 30 years from now, when America is like less than it will be like 40% white in 30 years. Literally, will be like coming in close to like 35%. We will lose every election. There will be no republicanism. There will be no Bill of Rights. There will be no protections underneath what we deem to be our rights, because they don't vote the same as we do. So the more they outbreed us, the Muslims, the blacks, the Spanish, the more we lose every single election. That's why it's so important, because we're different. We're different people. They come from different areas of the world. They have a different culture, a different heritage, a different social structure, a different set of cultural norms. And they don't believe in the liberty that our founding fathers comes from our blood, Joe. That Magna Carta came from the English Anglo-Saxon white man's blood. The thought of the Greek philosophers who set up democracy came from the white man's blood.
All right,
it's something baked into you. Freedom.
Jake, how do you win the hearts and minds if you have 29% of black men that are voting of the population that is voting for President Trump, let's say, and for the idea that we have been left behind? How do we make it 40%, 50%, 60%? How do we actually, by the way, it's 29% across the board of black individuals. So of blacks that voted for President Trump, it was a little over 40%, 41, 42%. So how do you get it from 41%?
You're in an abusive relationship with black people.
I'm not in an abusive relationship. My family is interracial.
I have to land that. I have to land that.
My little brother was murdered by a police officer.
I'm not talking about with actual black people. I'm saying America's in an abusive relationship with women, with black people. We gave them the civil rights movement. We gave them women's suffrage. And what do? The 4 women on Supreme Court act like a sorority of sluts, and they vote together to strike down President Trump's ban on birthright citizenship. We've tried generation after generation to give these people positions of power. Almost every single black leader in every position of power, every single mayor, the freaking lesbian mayor of Chicago, the black lady mayor here, Karen Bass. We give them when you have a string of abuses, which is what our Declaration of Independence says, and it keeps happening. If black people keep voting wrong, if women vote in Zoran Mandami, we must extricate ourselves from this abusive relationship. We must repeal the 19th Amendment. We must denaturalize and deport these people because we can't win their hearts and minds. We keep trying, and they keep coming home and abusing. They keep ruining every city they're in. They keep destroying everything that they touch. Women's and black people destroy. You want to win their hearts and minds because you're like an abusive relationship with
I'm not an abusive relationship with
the
anything.
woman
Remember,
that keeps getting beaten and she keeps going back to her husband. Eventually, after it happens 50 times, you must just divorce them. We need a national divorce. There is no fixing these people. In fact, Joe, it's getting exponentially worse. The average young black person can't even read a note card of like a normal sentence. I literally see it every day on X and social media. They go out, black influencers, let's with a note card, and they ask the young men, read this. And it says,
Jake, if we're going to have a conversation, we got to have a conversation. We got to work both sides because I have questions. There's questions people are asking.
I'm sorry. I'm fired up about this, Joe. A bunch of black people just tried to lynch me.
No, actually, there was quite a few white people there, and the woman that was
they were white. But last time in LA, it was the BETs, and
they're white, bro. You were in front of the BET Awards. What did you expect? I mean, come on. That's like 90% of the people that go there are black, and that 90% of them didn't attack you. It's just a few idiots. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
Listen, by like over 10 different individuals.
The people that just attacked you were a bunch of white people. They were white women.
No, there was a lot of Spanish illegal immigrants.
The one that got your shirt is white as night, bro. White as night.
I saw a light bulb head Somali too.
Okay, so you travel with people. Black people are inside of your entourage. You
White
Spanish
man
people.
And a couple blacks.
Yeah. My point is this, okay? We got to have a debate. We got to have a conversation about things because you and I got pretty heated when I was like, listen, don't do this. And you're like, Joe, I'm doing that. Not only that, I'm doing a pig roast. And I'm like, that provocation doesn't allow for people to connect with you, right? To stand on your side. And I was like, what you want to have is want to have consensus.
I'm trying to fix things. I'm trying to divorce my abusive wife, right? Every time I come home, she keeps punching me in the face. It's happened 50 times. I'm trying to divorce the Somalis.
You only got one wife, right? You only got one wife. so
yes, but I'm just saying it's just a.
So it's a singular. It's not a. So Jake, I'm trying to give you grace here.
Things. I just want to deport everybody.
Yeah, I want to fix things. I
don't. I'm saying that's the true way to fix it. The way to fix it is to reclaim America for our bloodline, for the founding fathers' posterity. That's how you get a country full of Christians, full of law-abiding citizens, for people who care about the same things we care about. See, what happens is you have 50 different countries with and different demographics with competing interests. Right now, I'm looking on the streets of LA. There's no white people right here. Look at this. There's all Indians, Asians, Spanish. There's no way. Oh, there's an obese liberal white woman. Oh, there's a Muslim with a headscarf. What the fuck has happened to my country? Where is my country? Where are the white people that vote like I do?
They moved to
believe in the same God that I do.
So listen. There are plenty of people. It's hot outside, so they're in an air conditioned place. But
white people are inside. Yes, the sub-Saharan Africans are out fanning themselves.
Okay, that's not what I meant by that. But let me give you some what I think is perspective here. Okay, which we have to have. There are so many people in this country that latch on to whatever they think they can latch on to that solves this pain that they feel. Black men, by the way, I think feel like they have to assimilate to something. They're called Uncle Tom. When they stand up and do the right thing, just like white people. There's a reason why there's white liberals. Right? There's a reason why there's white liberals, because they're retarded. And there are plenty of retarded people to go around that are white. Would you say that? Is that true? I mean, you just got attacked by basically
I was just lynched by a whole entire group of self-hating whites, race traitors. And by the way, when the future rises, race traitors will be dealt with first.
Jake, here's a question that just came across the wire. Would you say the same thing about Jews? Would you say the same thing
Yes,
about?
because if you ask Grok, unequivocally, ask Grok right now, if only Jews voted in 2024, who would be our president? Fucking Kamala Harris. The Jews would have sold us out. Deport those motherfuckers too.
So you're an anti-Semitic, racist, Islamophobe. I'm going to give you all the dog whistles now, bro. You get them all. You get them all. Right?
And no, I wish I didn't have to be. I wish that they voted like common sense white people vote.
The problem is the elections are rigged. We don't know how they vote. You don't know how they vote. You know, I'm just going to tell you, you don't know how they vote because it's all rigged. The whole system's rigged. Jake Lang, it's rigged. All the way down the line.
I agree with that, Joe. But we do know how. You see the freaking Jews in New York. They back Mandami. They hate themselves. I mean, you see them coming out in droves. They hate themselves, man. They come out, these liberal Jews.
The text messages that I'm getting right now are just so funny because they're like, Joe, you knew Jake was going to do this when he came on. Listen, I'm trying to reason with Jake.
And I get more radical. There is no going back.
Yes,
and this is a part.
I pray that you will go back.
Let me land something here for all of your audience because it's not my age people, mostly 30-year-old white men.
You're wrong.
Let me land something.
That's okay.
You have no fucking clue what's coming. Everybody my age believes almost identically to the things I believe. When the boomers are gone, you have no idea. The white man chimp out is coming and we're taking back our country. We are going to fucking freak out and extricate these invaders from our country. Come hell or high water. I'm telling you, Joe.
Where is that in the Bible?
Jesus whipped those money-changing Jews right in the ass and kicked them through their tables over and kicked them out of God's temple.
No,
my country is God's temple, and these money-changing Jews and these sub-Saharan freaking money, the Somalis that steal our money, they're all going to get the 3-cord whip in the ass, and they're going home.
You know, when I was a kid, we had people that you know, when I was younger, we had people that thought that any attention was good attention. I'm trying to say that there are plenty of people that would align with you on what you're saying about people that should not be in the country that have not assimilated if it wasn't about race. If we could just have a conversation, because I could do the same thing about people from India. I could do the same thing about people from not Asians. Asians just stick to themselves, frankly.
No. We will keep the Asians. We can keep
they're the smartest guys out there. The only people that can like ace the ACT. Like you have 100 of them, 99 of them got 36.
We'll keep the Koreans, the Vietnamese, and the Japanese. They can stay. They're honorary white people. But the commies from China.
I don't even know where this conversation's going.
No, because they're honorable.
Jake,
and
I'm trying to mentor you.
They're
here,
not commies.
They're not. They're amazing people. And actually,
no, but the Chinese commies, they gotta go, and all the other ones, they gotta go. And the Filipinos. Actually, all the Filipinos are Christian. They're nice people. We'll keep like 10 of them.
I don't even know what to do with you here. I'm trying to reason with you.
The problem is that the solutions that your generation and the generation before you.
Remember, I was fighting before you
I'm
were.
30 years old. You're 20-some years older than me, right, Joe?
Right.
Okay, so you're a different generation. The solutions your generation offered fucking failed. The solutions that the generation before you
generation
offered
before
fucking
me
failed.
Look, you can't say that it's my generation.
You guys are in the seat of power right now. Most politicians are your age.
Not. No, that's absolutely not true. The average age of a politician right now is 66 years old. For a politician, all 7,200 pieces or people out there, 66 years old is the average age. That's nowhere near my generation.
You're splitting. You're between two different generations, so it's half of your generation, half of the boomers.
Dude, my generation is the warriors. Like we will fight to the bitter end. Like we don't care.
I know you will, but you're gonna get white pilled today, Joe, and you're gonna leave here thinking, yes, you are. You're gonna be like, holy shit, Jake Lang's right. If it was just white people in this country, there'd be no crime. We'd have all the homes we need, right? All the H-1B chain migrant Indians that have been buying up all the homes in Texas. all these poor young white children my age, they can't start a family because they can't afford a home. If we deport 100 million of these invaders, every 30-year-old white man will be able to afford a home. They will have jobs because all the foreigners will have left and they could get jobs. Our problems stop when we get these invaders out. It's
Okay,
so
so
simple.
I got to tell you something. I hire people all the time. Do you know what the worst person to hire in my company is?
Yes, white people addicted to fucking painkillers.
I personally, it's typically not
Tell me
white
I'm right or
men that
wrong.
work hard, huh?
Tell me
I'm in tech.
because there's so many wiggers out
guns.
there that have had the wiggers, by the way, they've been infected with the hip hop hypnosis and they're drug addicts and they don't know how to work an honest day's job. And
that's
that's
not true.
part of the black culture. The Africanization of our people has infected us and we're dying wholesale. We're killing ourselves buying the black man's drugs right off the black drug
Put comments
dealers.
up, Damon, please. Put damn comments up, please. Thank you. All right. All right, so here's a question. I'm going to give you some of the questions people have. I think these are honest questions, okay? And I want you to be introspective for a minute, Jake. Kathy says he came out of prison in such a good place. What is he drinking?
I'm drinking reality.
I want you to think about that.
I came out to a different country. You have to understand, you guys were the frogs in the boiling water that never jumped out. When I came out of prison, literally cities looked different. And with COVID on top of that, everything changed. There was 20 million invaders that came. Every single gym that I go to, every single public space, it's brown people who don't speak English. I'm still looking around right now. I can't find a white person around me. When I went into prison, everywhere I looked around, in a Walmart, and I was just in a Walmart in DC, dude, I literally, in droves of hundreds of people could not find, hundreds. It was 4th of July. And Walmart was stacked out with people in and out. I could not find a single white person. And so I just see with my eyes and I hear with my ears, and I have not had this, the luxury of being the frog in the boiling water. I came out to a different country. Joe Biden imported 20 million conservatively, some people say up to 30 million brown people into our country. And it's changed. So that's what I'm drinking. I came out to a different entire livelihood. The only place you can even find white people that are the majority is you have to go 40, 50 miles outside of any major city. And then you can have a peaceful walk in the park without thinking you're going to get Irina Zarewski by some dread-headed thug.
Listen to me. I know Jake Lang. I know the 6 years of Jake Lang being in prison. I know the rejection. I know the coming out. I know what you saw. I know the one thing that I was asked yesterday. I was on a show called the Unclassified Show, which is on the Victory channel. It's a Christian channel. And he said, Joe, what do you regret?
They're great people. We love the Victory.
What do you regret the most about the last 6 years? And I got choked up. And there's only one word that describes what leads to the most pain. One word: time. I gave up time. I gave up time with my family, my friends. I gave up time nurturing those relationships, building things, helping people. I gave up time because I was just in a war for 6 years. I know you were in that war. I know you were in prison, between the two, right? But I'm telling you what people are telling me, and I feel this for you because you and I got into it, right? And I know that there's this
as
thing
brothers do.
As brothers do. There's this thing inside of you that is, you're an innately good person. And one of the things, I'll just say this comment. Where is it? I just saw it. CSA Liz says he's right about many things, but he needs to improve his delivery.
My delivery is the reason why you guys know my name. My delivery is the reason why I smash the algorithm. I'm a #1 conservative activist in the entire country. I get hundreds of millions of views a month, literally. We're bigger than CNN. what we're doing is literally shaping culture. Do you understand? 1 year ago when I stepped out and I slapped the Quran with bacon in Dearborn, Michigan, no one was talking about Islamification in America. Now we have sitting U.S. congressmen literally saying no, but putting a ban on Islam. Randy Fine, people, Nancy Mace. We have literally shaped culture and change people's ideology on this entire racial demographic shift because of my delivery. I'm Samuel Adams. I'm not, Thomas Jefferson. I'm not coming in with the ink and the pen. I'm here to light the brush fires of liberty in the hearts of men. I may be rough, tumble. I'm a fucking prisoner of war that came out after 2.5 years of solitary confinement to see everything I knew about America change. And we're one generation from losing it all. I still haven't seen a fucking white person on the street as I'm looking around. And it disgusts me, not because I don't like these other people, because they have their own homeland and they should be fighting for the rights that we have here in their homeland. All these people come here to our country instead of the brave men, the doctors, the engineers, the skilled workers, the smart people, instead of fixing their shithole third world countries, India and all these Bangladesh, Pakistan, sub-Saharan African countries, Ivory Coast, all that stuff. Instead of fixing their countries, they flee like cowards to come to America, but they don't assimilate, they don't stand on principle, and they start to slowly but surely bring their shithole third world backwater ideologies and their religious values and their goat fucking and all the stuff they do to our shoreline. And I'm disgusted with these cowards that flee their countries instead of fixing their countries like we did, like the American people did, and establish liberty for themselves. And they come here just like it's the same thing as what's happening to Texas. Democrats flee from their shithole states to go to Texas, to go to Tennessee, to go to Florida, but they bring their ideology with them, not knowing that they're fleeing from their ideology and the people that practice their ideology. It's the same principle with everybody from South America. They're fleeing their countries instead of fixing their countries. And if that's not bad enough that they're cowards that can't stand up like men against tyranny, they're bringing their ideologies with them. And then slowly but surely, generation after generation, it turns into little Haiti. Everywhere you go, it turns into little Morocco, little this, little that. Where's little England? There's no fucking little England left. Where's little Italy? We're being driven out. We're being replaced. And with a replacement comes a change in everything. There's hijabs everywhere I look in California and everywhere I go. Hijabs everywhere, and I don't see any white kids. I'm in the airports, Joe. I fly probably about 10 flights a month, if not more. There's no white children, literally anywhere. All I see is brown children everywhere. You have no idea what's coming. And President Trump, by the way, just because I say these things does not mean this is taboo topic. President Trump just tweeted out, and you guys can pull it up if you go on his Truth Social, an image of a kindergarten class in Minnesota. It's 100% hijab wearing freaking 4-year-olds or 5-year-old kindergartners. Our president understands this. These topics, like I said, we've elevated this social issue from my activism, not just me solely, but a large part of being the spearhead of it in the face of the remigration movement, is now common talking point for the sitting president of the United States of America to tweet out something like that would have been taboo a year or two ago. And now it's common knowledge. Yeah, white people are being replaced in Minnesota. The children aren't white anymore. Nobody's white. We're not having children.
The white replacement is not it's purposeful chaos, right? There's still white people all over the world, right? We're funding other people's ability to have children, and we're basically making abortion the only right you have in the United States. So this is why I like to talk about how we got here.
Thank God for abortion. If it wasn't for abortion, there'd be 40 million more black people in America, and it would be wreaking havoc. You wouldn't even understand what would have happened to America. Imagine, just walk outside and imagine
Jake,
40 million more thugs and armed robbers and degenerates. Imagine that. And 40 million more Democrat voters, by the way. President Trump wouldn't be in office. Imagine. Thank God for abortion. Thank you, Jesus.
I can't get behind anything.
It's a hard truth, man.
That is not the hard truth.
Nobody can get behind that, but it's the fucking truth.
That is not
of
the
course,
truth.
every human being is made in the image of God,
Look,
and
if-
every
if-
human being has inherent dignity.
In
But
2
I
decades,
cannot
no,
stand
stop for a
behind
minute. Stop,
40 million more black people.
Just so you know, only 42% of all abortions are black, 34% are white. Okay, just so we're clear. That's, Gammy, you're right.
Yeah, well, they're
So-
only 13% of the population, so they're massively overrepresented in killing their own children. But, you know, I thank God for that disgusting, horrible, it's a devil's advocate thing, because we'd be a Democrat regime and it would be crime-ridden everywhere.
So this is the great thing about academics, right? And I don't need to convince you, I need you to understand where it comes from. Let me put this in perspective for you. If people can't afford to have children, which is the number one reason why they have abortion, is because of convenience. They can't afford to have children. White, black, green, yellow, purple, they don't want to be poor, right? If you take away the government glut, the 56 cents on every dollar that these assholes take, and you give it back to the people, and you say, listen, we're only gonna take 10% of your pay. We're gonna let you keep 90%, both at the state and the federal level. And you will see a thriving that happens in the community and people taking responsibility for what happens to them. People can't pay to pay attention. They don't have the ability to. They're barely putting food on the table today. An opportunity that doesn't exist. So where you say it's a symptom and that there's all this crime and everything else, I talk about the fact that there's a chokehold. There's a chokehold on the generations of people, black, white, green, yellow, purple, that have been here for generations, that are strangers in their own home. And this influx, this replacement theology is real. This hijab theology, the same thing that turned, modern Iran into hijab land, and where everyone has to wear a burqa, and what it's done to adversely affect
Rome,
other countries.
And London. And
I agree with
Belfast,
you. I agree with you, but that has nothing to do with black people who are
Germany,
Americans that have been here since the 1600s. Right? It's just not. It's fundamentally flawed, because we have imported a resistant group of people who do not want to assimilate, and you cannot. If you do not have assimilation, you do not have a functioning culture. You have to have a shared culture. That culture has to be based on education. It has to be based on some moral aptitude. Right now, it's just deviancy and perversion. And that's what's being promoted. That's why we are where we are. But if you think that black people have not been left behind, they've been left behind. American black people and brown people have been left behind just like white people. They just get lumped in with a bunch of thugs and assholes that come over here with an IQ of less than a rock. That's the reality.
We're in an identity crisis in America, because I don't believe black people are Americans, Joe. Americans are a certain bloodline from Europe. We are white people, white Christians from Europe.
Italians are not white.
That is the
just so we're
truth.
clear. They're not white.
The
Italians are
first
not white.
act of yes, they
Italians
are.
are not white.
Yes,
No,
they're
they're not.
Especially Northern Italians. We can argue about Sicilians. We can. But
Sicilians are not white, bro. Come on, man. Most of the world is not white.
Italians, dude. Ask any Italian, dude. Are you white or are you black?
They call Hispanics white now. Are you a non-white white?
Not me.
Bro,
listen.
The fact there's only one race.
Joe, the first act of Congress
race.
granted free white men who own property. Those are the people that had power in our country. Those are the men that set up our system of governance. Those are the people that had the right to vote only. And now, 250 years later, you've got Ilhan Omar, you've got Zoran Mandami, voted in by blacks and women. We messed up.
Bro.
We messed up.
Let me
guess
explain
what?
something to you.
The Muslims got it right. The Muslims do have it right. They have the woman question. They got their women on lock. And guess what? You're not seeing two gay men kiss on their New Year's Eve ceremony on national TV in Islam land, okay? You're not seeing transgender story hour over there. You're not seeing women running for office and turning their cities into fucking gay, sanctuary cities and stuff. The Muslims got it right. We better take some ideas from the Muslims and take away these women's right to vote, because they're like children burning themselves on a stove over and over. Eventually, as a parent, you have to come in and say, you're hurting yourself. I have your best interests at heart. You're voting in an Islamic socialist regime that will eventually steal your rights from you and subjugate you underneath the hijab and make it so that you can't have any position of any dignity in your own country. We need to save these people from themselves, Joe. That's our job as white men. Save these people from themselves. We've let these people run drunk with power, and now they have ruined our society.
Let me be the arbiter of reality for you, which I think is super important. Number one, I truly believe there's only one race, human race. You either play for team evil or you play for team good. And if we were to dictate and create an environment where we got rid of Democrat, Republican, and all those letters that you have to wear, if we got rid of the black, white, green, and I'm not saying you can't delineate people based on, hey, well, obviously he's black, obviously he's Spanish. But if you can push a line that says, here's what Team Evil does. Team Evil commits crime. And hold them accountable. And one of the issues that we have is that there's these camps that are being created, and you could simplify it to what you're saying. You could. But I got to tell you, the first person that I went to pick up my phone to call when I had a problem a week ago was not a white dude. And he's been my friend for a long time. He ain't white. The first person I called, and I knew that I could call him 5 minutes later, he'd be there. When I played football,
and I will
hold
say
on,
this
time
too,
out. I let you talk, let me talk.
When I was in jail was Philip Anderson.
Right.
Philip Anderson, the black man, the J6er that I saved. He
Right.
put up $5,000 for my bond. We do have amazing Christian men. The body of Christ does not delineate by color. But
Jake,
I'm not
I need
God.
to finish. I need
If
to finish this
80%
thought.
of a population is lost,
But
I'll take the 20% of good ones.
You don't know.
But 80% of black people are completely lost.
But you don't know that because we have a subversion of our election systems, and they literally are faking everything.
I can
If what I'm saying is
downtown
wrong,
Orlando on a Friday night and watch all the black people congregate. Dude, it is
that's not all the black people in Miami. I promise you.
Grills and chains are all ghettofied. That's the new age black person.
Maybe, but that's not all
80%
black
of blacks in America are ghetto.
That's not true. But let me just give you this. You just said the first person you called was Philip Anderson, right? The first person I called when I needed something was a black man. When I played football, when somebody attacked me, tried to hit me from behind, my friend, and we literally have this conversation all the time. I am my brother's keeper. He jumped over 3 people and knocked that dude out. I didn't even know what was happening until after it happened. So we have to delineate that there is a team good and team evil, and we just got to start putting them on their sides. But this idea that we're actually going to, and look, I agree with you with this Islamification of our country. It shouldn't happen. If you can't assimilate, you can't be here. Get out, right?
What about Africanization of our country?
Where's that happening?
Blacks are African. They're not American. They're African. They're from a different continent. They're African.
We're from
the Africanization. No, we're conquerors of this continent.
By the way, just so you know, if you want to go back to, I think it was 1653.
It's been that way for 300 years.
1653, the first court case that had to do with slavery. There was a black man that argued in court that he could own slaves till they died, right? It wasn't a white man. So we create this, it
was the white man who liberated the world from slavery.
Yes. And it's, by the way, it's back.
We were the only ones
in America is a slave.
Everyone's still practicing slavery. Every other race, except for the white race.
Yeah. Okay. I want you to know that if we start looking at this from the perspective of race, we've already lost. We've already lost. Because you can't get people over to your side.
I believe you're in an abusive relationship with racial reality, and you want to see the good in people. You have black friends. I have black friends.
My family.
And guess what?
I have black family.
Amen.
All right.
Amen. But the reality of the situation is, Joe, 80% of black people want you dead. They hate white people. They hate our culture. They hate the Roman warrior. They hate the Greek philosopher. They hate the American patriot. They have been completely usurped. Their minds have been taught to them.
What you're saying is
black
not true,
people
Jake.
are taught
Jake,
from a very young age that the white devil is the oppressor, and it's in our school curriculum. They're completely brainwashed. 80% of black people want you dead, Joe. They want to see you wiped. They want to see white supremacy, which is what America is. We are the number one. We're a white country, and we're the most supreme in the world. They want to see the end of white culture. They want to see the end of. They don't want to see President Trump and J.D. Vance, two handsome, well-spoken white men running America on the world stage. They want to see a fucking Indian and some hijab-wearing woman up there.
Yeah,
They don't want to see our people represented by our people. Yes, they do. That's how they vote. That's how they vote.
Jake, that's if you could say that the elections are not 100% fraudulent. You went to J6 because you were not represented and you wanted to redress some grievances. Because we are living in a world that basically we're a captured nation. Those things are true. But saying you're a captured nation and looking at it from the perspective of race is short. It's a shortfall. Frankly, it's not true. There are plenty of people who, look, I'll just say it right now. John Thune is a traitor to our country. Him not passing the SAVE Act, he's white as the driven snow, right? You can look at other people like Olympia Snow and all these other people that work inside of a Congress on the Democrat side, Republican
They're race
side.
traitors.
No, they're traitors to the nation, to the ideals, to the very soul of our nation.
The nation, perfect word.
Right.
In the Bible, God says, "I will call forth from the nations of the world." What are nations, Joe? They are races of people. God separated us by races in the very beginning of the Bible, in the Tower of Babel. When God separated us, He put all the different races. He put different tongues and different nations all across the world. Okay, your nation is your race. You missed the plot. Gen X and Boomers, you guys missed the plot. This nation of ours is a race of people. It is a bloodline. The race. Listen, what you don't understand. And what they've not told you about the Bible, I know, but I'm just talking to your audience, and I'm white pilling right now. The whole Bible is about bloodline. The whole Bible is about bloodline. Everything in the Bible talks about bloodline. The very first chapter of Matthew, God Himself wrote the book of Matthew, and the New Testament, the most important beginning of any book ever written. What was the first whole chapter? The bloodline, the nation, the race of Jesus Christ. And with that, I mic drop and I sequester myself because I have a group of crusaders that need their honorable leader to go celebrate another great crusade.
I'm going to pray for you, and I'm telling you that you have to consider things that are different sometimes.
Black lives matter. Bloodlines matter. Bloodlines matter. Love you, Joe. God bless you, brother.
All right, God bless you.
God bless you guys. I love you so much, man.
Well, that was a lot. Let's talk about this for a minute. And I said I'd only go an hour today, but I think this one deserves more than an hour. So I got a comment from Patrick, sent me a text message, and he goes, I can't have that guy on. I can't interview him. There are people that listen to this podcast that believe the things that Jake believes. There's an immense amount of pain. When I was overseas, I met with people who said, you can't go into this country because they're nothing but terrorists. The entire idea of where we are right now, the pendulum swing back to sort of this tolerance of Islamification of our communities and this apologetics that we've given ourselves to ignore the identity that we have as a nation has been largely caused by apathy and cowardice. But that all started based on an idea that all Muslims were terrorists. That happened in 2001. See, it actually is written that when you have paradigm crashes, which is easy to do when you have an idea or identity that's set on certain people that do hate you. But you went over to their nation, you blew up big buildings, and you created a whole new generation of terrorists. And something bad goes wrong with you. And I'm talking about myself. In 2002, I lost friends. My family was adversely affected by 9/11. I grew up in the DC area, and that was an attack on my country. And keep in mind, when the 9/11 happened, I was in my 20s. And FTP for me was a real thing. Fuck the police. My brother was murdered in 2017, and these pieces of trash wrote an article that wasn't true and painted my brother as something that he wasn't. My first foray into that the media was trying to destroy and rip a family apart and doesn't care because we're just a number, we're just slaves. They can get away with doing whatever they want. Jake spent years in prison. I thought all Muslims were terrorists until I went there in 2007. Something changed in me. Something changed because I had a paradigm crash because I got to meet people where they were, not where I wanted them to be. Fast forward, I spent an enormous amount of time and built amazing relationships with Muslims in other countries. And I learned to read people really, really well. I knew when I was dealing with a Muslim that hated me. And typically I would become puffy chest, so to speak. Like, who are you talking to? You're not talking to me that way. And they do this thing where they try to dismiss you. Most pronounced when I was in Israel. I had this group of people that tried to dismiss me. You're a Christian, dismiss me. The only two fights that I ever got into that were real knockdown, drag-out fights, one was in Israel. I got called a dog and a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, I got your dog right here. Because I don't put up with anybody's shit. None of it. I love the Lord, but I'm going to send someone to the Lord real quick if they and find out. I say that because I have an immense amount of tolerance towards people because I've been able to see the other side. I've been able to see pain. I've seen kids blown up. I've seen the outcome of a bombing of an entire village in the Middle East. Yeah, does racism exist? Yes, it exists in all shapes, sizes, colors. It's hard to listen to, Y.O. Gammy says. Yeah. But we have to talk and work the problem. And Jake is in an immense amount of it. He's going to do more harm to himself, and it's going to be difficult for him. And look, it's only a matter of time till someone goes and tries to take his life. So someone's got to slow him down. So I keep talking to him about slowing him down. Sometimes everything looks like a nail and you're a hammer. But he lost time. He lost reputation. He lost the ability to enter the market. I mean, what's he going to go do? What job is he really going to go do if he's not doing this one? But with each passing day, this becomes his identity. He says, I reached 100 million people. All right, so you reach 100 million, that's significant, right? I mean, we have millions of people that watch this podcast, not 100 million. Those are Rogan numbers. The idea that this negativity that he creates is going to lead to meaningful change without kinetics is false. I know the other part of the flesh, and that is we want to defend our brothers and sisters. When you talk about black people, you're talking about my family. You're talking about me. You talk about Hispanics, you talk about people that I've served. You talk about Muslims, you talk about people that I've broken bread with, that I've had to get in fights with, shoulder to shoulder. So how do you delineate that? How do you talk about Asians? I got lots of Asian friends. Lots. But if you fast forward in history, and this is why I wanted to have Jake on today. When you fast forward in history and you get all the way to where you are right now, I had to go through 2020, 2021, 2022. You know what I called Democrats? Rapists. I can't remember the 3 words that I used. And I wanted to separate it. I had my Democrat friends that would call me. I had people that worked with me that would say, my wife's a Democrat. She's really offended by what you said. And I had to come on this show and I had to apologize. Because Democrat is not an affliction. Evil is an affliction. Democrat is an identity that people decide they want to latch onto. It's easy. It's hard to be an individual. It's hard to do the right thing all the time. It's very, very difficult. People say it's not difficult. It is difficult. And we want to act as if it's a zero-sum game and everyone's the same, and that politics don't have degrees and or understandings of where they sit on the scale. So I had to come on here and say, listen, I want to apologize to my Democrat friends, independent friends. That's why I saw radical leftists. I stayed away from Democrat, because Democrats are just as far behind as we are. But when you establish a symptom based on race, you have literally lost the argument to begin with. And when you smack a Bible or a Quran with bacon, you're giving up. It's a simplistic way to basically alienate a lot of people based on just feelings, not facts. The facts can still be the facts, and you could still say, okay, that 42% of the crimes are committed by 3% of the population. If you broke it down, you could say even more importantly that 1% of the or 20% of the 3% commit 42%. And that means 80% are good. That's a pretty good statistic. You can go out there, nobody's going to harm you. Black people, brown, it doesn't matter. But we have a problem, and the problem is we have stolen elections. Our elections are absolutely fraudulent. It's not the problems that we have are not based on race. It's based on culture, identity. We either identify as the United States of America, or we are the divided states of America. And that's what the communists want. They've stolen the election. You have no idea what the real vote is. You don't know, because it's not real. And if it was real, and what Jake was saying was, all right, let's just say it's all done. Jake, you're right. If that was true, they wouldn't require 40 to 50% of everyone you interact with online is a bot. Demcast, go check it out. They wouldn't need bots. It'd be real. People would get out there and they'd have these hyperbolic. You wouldn't need to try and sway the direction of society by putting up fake people to give fake opinions. It wouldn't happen. So I'm just going to leave this with you and consider this. I hope Jake considers it. We are, first of all, Jesus did not go and punch people in the face. And I'm not telling you that people don't need to be punched in the face, because they do, but it's not over race. Because you could say a lot about white liberal women. They've created the demise that we're even talking about. Play for team evil or play for team good. Speaking of team evil and team good, I want to share something with you. Let's put this post up. On July 8th, cured and overseas ballot dumps being reported. The Associated Press announced that Victor Marx is the winner of the Colorado GOP primary. He came from behind. He was down 13%. Now, usually it says that this late night ballot drop happens for just Democrats. Well, now 90% of the ballots that came in after the first day favored just one person. That's Victor Marx. And over 90% of the ballots that came in went towards him. And if you look at this, you have a 50-50-20 race. 40%, 40%, 20%. What's the likelihood of that happening? What's the likelihood of having a near cut? It's zero. Elections are fraudulent. They're fraudulent. They're absolutely fraudulent. But we have to tolerate these elections until we decide to have a rebellion. It's not going to be a racial rebellion. It's going to be a rebellion of good versus evil. CSA Liz says, yes, Joe, our problems are not race-based, cultural differences and evil versus good. I agree with you fully. I see something else. Just tuned in. I need to listen to the beginning. It seems too many are being painted with broad brushes to increase division. I agree with you. I agree with you. Go back and listen to it. So it led me to this post that I put up about Victor Marx. And I said, Greg Lopez it is, Marx is trash. So we're trying to, for the first time ever, to get an independent elected to the office. Because Victor Marx can't win. They've already started in. They've already started in on Victor Marx and all this stuff. They literally know, they're doing everything they can to go after Victor Marx. And you knew they would. President Trump is doing everything he can to give us back an election that has a semblance of being real. And we sit back and you talk about Spencer Pratt talking about what he talked about. When people start lumping things together and saying, election denier, and you have these dog whistles, it's nothing more than them saying that they need chaos in order to get what they want. President Trump is saying, give me the ability to have free and fair elections with our people. And let's get rid of these wackos that are on the street from other countries. So here's the president talking about this. He's not going to sign anything until they approve the Save America Act. Let's go ahead and play it.
Social writing this in part, quote now, I'll read half of it for you. I will not sign the housing bill, which has been fully approved by Congress and sent to the White House in protest over the fact that the United States Senate is not capable of passing the Save America Act, which is polling at 97% with the Republican Party and very high with the non-politician Democrats, he writes. The act states quite simply that the voter person must show photo voter ID, proof of citizenship, and that there will be no more crooked, corrupt, and destabilizing mail-in ballots, exceptions for military, disabled, illness, and travel. The Save America Act's non-passage is crazy and a serious threat to any politician who votes against it. He goes on in the second half of that post to talk about the Democrats getting rid of the filibuster in the Senate if and when they take control. So that's just off the True Social.
What's interesting about this is that 97% of Republicans, 82% across the board of Democrats and Republicans, and non-Democrats. So basically, 80% of the country, and that includes, by the way, illegals in the country. So you take that 20% out, it's probably 100% of Americans. Say pass the Save America Act. And the politicians are like, no, I don't want it. So tell me again. Go ahead, tell me again. Tell me again how we are not in the category of a captured nation by betrayers and traitors. Tell me again how the Bill of Rights should not enact itself and we should throw these assholes right out on their head, Democrat and Republican. Seriously, Joe, should we continue voting? I think we should get together and we should have a blanket party. And we should take politicians out. That's what I think. Out meaning yank them out of office. Have courts of public courts. And have civilized ways of getting back to not being slaves in our own country. I want you to see this. This is to show you how bad it is in our country. And this is why how Jake has so much popularity out there of creating what he's doing. People are afraid to talk about it. They're afraid to have him on the show. They won't have him on the show. Like, I'm the only one, guys. I'm the only one. No one else is inviting Jake up to talk. And I didn't agree with him on his tactics or how he sees the broad stroke of things. Is he fighting? Yes. What else could he do? Where else could he go? There's plenty of people that were on J6, can't go get jobs. They're destitute, homeless. Because that's what the radicalized nature of these communist pieces of trash in our country have done to us. They've allowed the media to become valid. They've allowed this narrative of it was some insurrection to continue to thrive. And we have to be willing to take it out. We're going to see this as Mamdani pushing more of this race-baiting tension that is hopefully going to lead to him being grabbed out by the scruff and thrown out of office. Go and play it.
Mayor Mamdani, I give you a year. You are not a New Yorker. You have no clue.
I'm Isabella Reggi, and today we are here in Little Italy asking the locals how they feel about one of the oldest immigrant communities, Little Italy, not being included on Mayor Mamdani's immigrant enclave map.
I don't consider you to be my mayor.
I think it's disgraceful for what he's doing. He's got to be fair to everybody, and he's not fair to everybody. He's not fair to the Jewish people, which he makes everybody notice he's not fair to the Jewish people. He's not fair to the Irish people. And now he hates the Italians. For what reason? What do we do to him that he should hate us? They always sort of pushed us to the side. I got it, yeah. In other words, Little Italy, they take care of their own problems. And we're always pushed aside. And I think it's about time that we have to be firm about this. Otherwise, we'll totally be forgotten.
If you understand what took place here over 100 years ago, between 1880 and 1920, when the mass migration of Italian immigrants first came, this was the stepping stone for the Italians.
Well, the Bari family came here 120 years ago from Sicily. They were immigrants. They landed down in what's known as the 5 Points. Grandma started the San Gennaro Festival. That right up there, that is Grandma. That is Grandma. Grandma from the Bari family. Okay, she is the heart and soul of this neighborhood.
My grandfather was on the Society of St. Gennaro, which happens to be this year 100 years. So it means a lot to me, Little Italy, you know?
There's no such thing as left or right down here. Both sides of the street are beautiful.
And what makes New York City such a special place is a collage of many different cultures. People from all over the world come here and settle. And they need to be recognized for the contributions that they brought to this wonderful country.
How about that? And here's Mamdani, who, by the way, is not a New Yorker. He's an outsider, which, by the way, most people in New York, if you had free and fair elections, would reject this little midget. They would reject him. He's not an American. He's an anti-American, race-baiting, racist piece of trash who is trying to destroy and take from the people of New York what was never theirs. But here's his map. Let's go and put it up there. Put up the New York Post deal. So he has map for everything. The New York City immigrant enclaves. Except for one. He left the Italians out. They always talk about the value of immigrants, except when they're white Europeans. That's really what they're saying. And here's a 1-minute video posted by NWokeness that highlights the immigrants that built New York City. Play it. So there's a lot of people that were built out there building skyscrapers, building bridges, tunnels. It was a rugged Americanism at its finest. And we weren't thinking back then of race. It was a melting pot of sorts in New York City. People got along, but they didn't. I mean, look, this tension has always existed. It's existed everywhere. There are people that they escalate it. And now you have this thing that's happened where it's not even just races anymore. It's ignoring science. And we have to debate the ridiculous and call a man a woman a man. Go ahead and play this.
If trans women are not real women, then why is it that my vagina having ass had to go get a prescription for a yeast infection? Common thing, happens to 3 out of every 4 women. So, guess that includes trans women. So, how's that for that basic biology, you know? Because the biology tells me, yeah, I am a real woman.
That dude's retarded. He's like past retard. You got a yeast infection and you think that that's just for women. I mean, I don't even know the butthole part. I mean, I don't even know how we can allow people like this to vote because they're retarded. We should have like a new amendment that says retards. You have to take a test of sorts of whether or not you're mentally ill and retarded. I don't know. But what they're doing in our country, you could say what Jake is saying is wrong, and I think it's wrong. I think it's completely wrong. I think what Jake is saying is wrong. I think it's wrong. I think he's looking at it with beer goggles and pain, lots of pain. But there is a radical establishment that is trying to take over this country and create a divide that makes his narrative palatable. And that's dangerous if we don't talk about it. And what they're doing in the UK and what they're doing here, and I keep seeing the videos of cops that are telling people that you can't walk into Muslim neighborhoods, and it's happening here in the United States, in Texas. Check this out. This is Muslims in the UK calling for anyone that's non-Muslim to pay a jizya tax. Play it.
I know jizya tax, that non-Muslims will have to pay a tax.
Yep.
I would say, do you agree with that? Like, if someone doesn't want to follow the religion, they have to pay a tax?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, what's the issue? Join in? Well, what's the issue with that? What's the issue with that?
What's the issue? I don't want to be a Muslim.
Let's answer the question. Yeah, you don't have to be a Muslim. Just pay your 2% tax.
Well, but I don't want to pay a tax just because I'm not Muslim.
So you stop in the UK to stop paying your taxes and see what happens to you.
Yeah, it's not because I'm not Muslim, though. Everybody pays taxes here.
Yeah, and we as Muslims, we pay zakah. You know, zakah is charity. You as a Muslim, you don't pay that. So this is why you have to pay. And by the way, you pay taxes because you're under our protection, right? If the country was to go to war, right, you would not join the army. We would have to defend you. This is why you pay the jizya tax. It's called a protection tax. So if the country was to be invaded, you wouldn't fight. You would just be chilling in your house and we would fight. This is why the jizya is in place.
These people they're just retarded. Man, let me tell you something. There's a war on my soil. I promise you, it's not going to be a Muslim that's fighting for me. It's going to be Team Good fighting against Team Evil. And there's probably going to be a bunch of Muslims on the Team Evil side. There's probably going to be a bunch of Muslims on the Team Good side. And there'll probably be a bunch of bad Muslims that were on Team Evil being on Team Good side to say that they're good while they cause harm. Here's what I'm going to tell you. We have a problem in our country because we have not fixated on our culture. We have a culture in this country. You don't get to walk around and tell me I got to wear a hijab. I think it's absurd that you do. You want to do that in your own house? Go do it. I don't think we have a pride flag for people just because you want to take it in the rear end or you're gay. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care. Nobody cares. Now, was there a time that people act stupid towards gay people? It will always be a time that people act stupid towards gay people and towards black people and towards Asians. I make fun of Asians, but I'm going to tell you something out. They're smart. I'm sorry. They get the highest SAT, ACT scores. They're a vast majority of them. And you're going to talk about a group of people that, frankly, should be in positions of power and authority in this country. It should be Asians. They value education above anyone and everyone else. But they're not. Mostly because they don't play for Team Evil and they don't want to take over the world. They just want to have life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. They're culturally aligned with understanding where they came from, and they want to have better for their family. They're very family-oriented. But you still got Asians in prison, too. They're not the only ones. They're still there. We have got to get to a place where we're not doing this social identity and victimology across the board. There are plenty of black men that are doing the right things, that are good fathers. But they get lumped in, and there's a video that Jake had where he's yelling at a pastor. Pastor loses his mind. Pastor gave up his humanity for that conversation, and Jake tried to basically do what he could to push him further over the edge. There's no dignity in that. There just isn't. I don't want to just get to a place where we just get along. I want to get to a place where we don't just get along. At the same time that I say that I don't want to be a place to just get along, I don't want people telling me that I'm a racist or I'm a homophobe or having these ADL. Just get rid of all those organizations. SPLC that funds different organizations. You got the ADL. They're a bunch of leftist Looney Tunes by themselves. These are the most racist people you've ever met, is the Anti-Defamation League. They're just racist, end to end. Racist. They're the most disgusting human beings I have ever met, is the people that work for those organizations. They don't do anything. They do nothing to defend anyone other than their own sick ideologies to pervert our communities, and then do it by putting scarlet letters on other people that are out there fighting. Jake is not doing us any good right now. If it's about how many people look at your content that agree with you or disagree with you, then he's winning. But social media is not the arbiter of reality. Reality is the arbiter of reality. So that's it. I'm going to head down to DCF. I'll see you guys at the e-store, and I'll see you tomorrow at Castle Rock. It's going to be a banging party tomorrow. So let's go ahead and run this out. Father God, thank you for the patience that you gave me. Today I needed patience. Thank you for the wisdom that you've instilled upon me and other people. And thank you for walking with Jake. I know he's got some things he needs to work through, but man, I wish he could have peace. Father, I ask you to please give us the ability to pause for a moment, to be academic. Doesn't mean we give up, Father, our strength or give up our courage. Just means we take a deep breath and try to figure out what the outcome. What are we trying to come up with an outcome? How do we create unlikely alliances? How do we build something that allows for us to restore you, Father, to our community, to our country, to the world? How do we separate Team Evil from Team Good? And how do we make sure we teach our children to fight for what is 100% righteous that they fight for? I don't know what the answers are, Father, but I put it before you and say, thank you for the opportunity to at least work this problem. We ask you for guidance. We ask you for the ability to really focus in on what is happening in our society and to cut out the cancers that have taken from us, again, what was never theirs to take. We ask you, Father, to give us the strength to be patient, but also the strength and the courage to step forward and to do the things that are necessary to protect future generations. We ask these things, Father, humbly, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. It's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. It's pretty crazy stuff. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about the show today, but I'm going to be thinking about it, praying about it, looking into it. I do want to say this before I close. Yesterday I had a deposition. Patrick filled in. He's been on vacation, so he filled in. And the deposition was for a Coomer deposition. I lost my cool a couple of times during that deal because they just are liars. Coomer lawyers are liars. And the Coomer lawyers are such liars that they filed a temporary restraining order, a protection order against me, made me go to the court and spend tens of thousands of dollars again. And it wasn't just Coomer, because Coomer's living out of country, and he didn't show up anyway. It was Coomer's attorneys. It was people that work for Coomer's attorneys. Because I badmouthed them because they're evil, demonic, shitty people. Like David Beller, that's wrapped up in the Christopher Gregory case. And you have Charlie Kane, who he's the last name of Kane. I mean, you figure it out. The guy's just evil personified. And you have Brad Clower. I mean, there's nothing more evil than this man. This guy lies as easy as it is for him to just walk across the street. They all fit together. They named a few other people in there, but they took me to court and they got on the stand and they lied maliciously in order to make it impossible for me to make a living. You have to have certain permits when you do contracts with certain companies. If you have a protection order against yourself, you are denied entry. You don't even get clearance to go into certain facilities. I, in essence, would have lost my ability to make a living. They did that. And he did so with evil intentions, without an ounce of evidence that there was any harm that I've ever said about anyone. I've said that traitors should be tried for treason. If found guilty, they should hang. And that the people inside of our state that are in leadership, they have betrayed the people. They are traitors, treasonous traitors. And they should be tried for their crimes. Jenna Griswold, Phil Weiser. I don't know how I feel about Jared Polis because he granted clemency to Tina Peters. I feel better about him today than I did yesterday, but I still am really upset about Team Evil, the synagogue of Satan, that they all agree that they work towards in order to hurt Americans, and more specifically hurt people in Colorado. But last week, they lost the protection hearing. It was vacated, dismissed. They were found to what they said had no finding of fact at all. And although they didn't like the fact that I was calling for a rebellion, which I still do, but that I didn't say anything directed towards them. But the narrative that they made it up. And no matter what the judge wanted to do, the judge saw it and said, I have a First Amendment right to speak about the crimes that have been committed by people, especially related to people connected to Eric Coomer, who is a part of the system, Dominion voting systems, Sequoia voting systems, to subvert the voice of the American people. And it's obvious. They lost that. So yesterday in the deposition, I just want you guys to know something else that happened. They brought up documents related to Joey Camp and said that, this is your guy and you shared this post. And I keep thinking about it like the ridiculousness of what they were actually saying. And I was like, I don't know. Well, is he in belief? Where is Joey Camp? I go, I don't know where he is. Were you aware that he takes credit for something? I was like, I'm not aware of anything that Joey Camp does. And then after the Joey Camp part, they brought it in and said, are you on RT? And they said, you don't agree with, and they went through Max McGuire's text messages and said, you don't agree with Ukraine. And I was like, no. I said, I will stand on the side of humanity. I'll stand on the side of Russia twice a day and every day, or twice on Sunday and every other day. And the reason being is I know about what's happened in Ukraine. Turns out I'm right years later. And I don't care what you think. I can think whatever I want. But then he said that I'm a Russian asset. That's what the guy said, is that I'm a Russian asset because I'm on RT. Because I speak my mind and I understand and have more access to information than this nimwit Brad. But it got worse. He accused me of putting tracking devices on his vehicles and having people follow him around. And I was like, listen, I think you probably need to go talk to the DOJ because it sounds like maybe you're under investigation. And I said, and there are investigations that are ongoing right now. And then he accused me of writing emails for RD. And he accused me of, I mean, it was basically one fallacy after another. And that's all the left has is lies. They are just liars. And Coomer's lawyers are the worst type of liars. They're opportunists that use Team Evil in order to create opportunities for themselves. That was yesterday. So I got to tell you, that means that when you have the facts, you pound the facts. When you have no facts, you pound the table. And that's what they're doing now. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to head down and go try to get in a couple hours of saying hello to people down at the e-store. Should be a great, great day. Yeah, and you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, follow us, do all that stuff. And yeah, have a great day. And I'm sorry if I offended you by having Jake on, but I'm not sorry. You gotta have perspective. And yeah, I think that Alex Jones just have him on too. All right, God bless you. Have a great time. See you down there. Go Team DCF.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our